starting, huh?
Okay.
Yeah. So, so we are going to get started. I'll just check if the slides, etc., are visible or not.
Sure.
So, if you can see the presentation, just say yes on the live chat window so that I understand that we can all see the presentation as well as hear me. Okay, guys. Okay, great. So I just got the confirmation that we are audible. Uh, so we will just get started. So I wanted to do this webinar. So my name is Amitabh Verma, and along with Ankur, we'll take you through this webinar. It's going to take us about 30 to 40 minutes. And you can always ask question by putting it up on the chat window. So I'll keep looking up the chat window for questions, and I'll be asking those questions on your behalf. So why email marketing, and why are we doing this? You know, one of the marketing as a practice to reach out to, you know, prospective customers is one of the oldest. Like as long as the email started, I think people started using it for marketing purposes. Initially, like in 90s, early 2000s, it was a little on the lower side, but there were less advertisers. People were getting used to email. So email marketing was very effective. And one of the best mediums to reach out to convert. Slowly and steadily, there were a lot of marketers and a lot of users as well, but there's a lot of spamming. You know, like all of us understand how much spam we get, how many emails we get from marketers all over the world. So right now the problem is of a clutter, and how do we stand out in the clutter? How do we save ourselves from not getting into the spam window? So with that in background, you know, like I thought we should do a session, and we have invited Ankur Nandu, who is the founder and CEO of Canvas, which is into building marketing automation solutions. They have a, you know, like a solution called Firecard.io, power a lot of email marketing and a lot of other automation. And I'm sure Ankur is going to talk more about it. Ankur is an alumni of Mumbai University, and he has done his master's from Carnegie Mellon. And after that, he's worked in the US, and finally he completed his MBA from ISB, and now he is the co-founder for Canvas, and he runs one more company. So Ankur, if you can hear me, maybe you can just say hi, and maybe you can just get started.
Okay, thanks Amitabh for the introduction, and hi to everyone who's watching this webinar. So as you know, Amitabh has pointed out, before I get started with the webinar, I'll just say a little bit about myself. He's pretty much said, I did my electronics engineering in Mumbai University, and then did my computer engineering at Carnegie Mellon. I worked in the Bay Area with Cisco Systems for about 3 to 4 years, and then came back, did my MBA at ISB, and that's where I met my co-founder and started Canvas. At Canvas, we have a couple of products, and I may discuss a bit of it towards the end of the entire webinar. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. So if everyone's in order, then everything's in order, then let's get started with the webinar, Amitabh.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Today, the main goal is I want to cover a little bit of getting started basics of email marketing, and then slowly graduate to the best practices on how to avoid spam, getting the best ROI on your email marketing, and so on. So what exactly I plan to cover today? There's a whole bunch of things that I put in the slides. Depending on time and the questions that come up, we will then select what to really discuss. But the plan is, what is email marketing and why should I adopt it? It's been in the market for years now. Why do I still do it? often people ask, what happens to an email when you click on send. So I'll take you through the whole flow. If for newbies, for people who've never done email marketing, what does it take to get started? Some best practices from an email marketing standpoint. I'll share some examples of good and bad emails. Share, what are you going to look for when you are using an email marketing tool? Some common challenges that email marketers face, mistakes that they do. Why do emails land in spam? This is like a big topic, right? A lot of marketers are affected by it. And then towards the end, I'll share some tips and pointers on what are the new activities that are happening in the email space and what are the advanced activities in the space. So this is a quick definition which I referenced Wikipedia. Email marketing is nothing but you're effectively using email as a channel to reach out to audience. And it could be as simple as just sending out a one-to-one email, or it could be an email that you're sending out to hundreds of people trying to promote your new product or idea or service. So, as Amita pointed out, email marketing has been there for years now. So, why does one still want to do it? And given all the social media channels and the new YouTube activities, and there are so many different digital marketing activities one can do, why should one consider email marketing? So some quick stats, 75% of the companies that have used email marketing globally have found excellent to great ROI on their activities. So, let's quantify it a little bit, right? According to a report a couple of years back in Campaign Monitor, it says that email marketing gave $38 for every dollar that was spent by email marketer. That is 3,800%. Of course, this includes B2C companies, B2B companies, and so on. But the root point that it's making is, the returns on email marketing are huge if it is done in a good manner. You'll be surprised to hear that 86% of the people actually don't mind receiving promotional emails from the companies, but as long as they've done business with it, or have they, if they've given their email addresses to that company. In fact, 15% of the people don't even mind receiving daily emails from these companies. Comparing with social media, McKinsey report says email is actually 40 times more effective at acquiring new customers than Facebook or Twitter. That's a bit of a surprising stat, but you would generally associate Facebook and Twitter to be the viral kind of marketing channels. But email subscribers are 3 times more likely to share your content via social media than visitors from other sources. And this is something I already mentioned earlier as well, but promotional content, you would often use Facebook and Twitter and other social media channels to promote, but people who are really interested in your promotional offers or content would prefer it to receive it via email because it's a lot more personal.
Yeah. So Ankur, I think one of the reasons, why email marketing has been successful is just look at how many times we go and check an email. While maybe I may spend 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 40 minutes, an hour on Facebook, let's say.
Correct.
I mean, and go there maybe 10 times a day if I'm a good user. Email I check about 100 times a day, or maybe 50 times a day on an average. And then, nowadays with all the smartphones, I mean, we are constantly on the email. We constantly get notifications, etc. So it's just the availability. I mean, your consumer is available. Now it's up to you as to how you actually take benefit of that. Like, you spam them, or do you use some intelligent marketing?
Correct. Absolutely. In fact, users are addicted to consuming content, and email is a primary source, if not any other source. So
yeah, great. Yeah, let's move.
So to continue, let's. So often people ask, right, what happens to emails when you actually click on send? Why is the email not received by the recipient immediately, and so on? So I thought, let me take you through a flow of a single email that's sent. So for this use case, I'm going to assume that Ankur at canvas.in is sending an email to rishabh@icici.com. So as the first step, Ankur has created an email and has clicked on send. This email will go to the Canvas local server, where the server is going to check with its security policy. Hey, is the content that Ankur is planning to send to Rishabh okay from a security standpoint? Does it have any spam words? Does it have any viruses, trojans, or anything else which we should not send out from our server? If the email looks good to go, what's the next step? So Canvas server does not know where ICICI resides, right? So it's going to make a request to a public DNS server. And this part is a little technical, but I'll just speak it out anyway. It makes a request to the public DNS server and asks, hey, what is the IP address for ICICI.com? Once the DNS server responds back to that, at the other end, ICICI server is going to make a request to the public DNS and ask, hey, you know what? There's someone named canvas.in who's trying to send me an email. Can you confirm if they have a valid sender policy framework? That's the SPF record. This is to make sure that the email that's going to be sent from this particular canvas.in is actually being sent by that same person. So once that particular record is valid and ICICI says, okay, this is fine, there is a series of steps that happen for an email to go from canvas.in, ankur@canvas.in to rishabh@icici.com. So what is going to happen now? The email that was created by Ankur is broken into several parts. And if you see the cloud, it actually goes via different routers and finally reaches the ICICI server. At the ICICI server, all those packets are then reassembled to create the email. This is done via a protocol called Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, that is SMTP. This is a widely used email protocol, and more than 70 to 80% of emails today go via this protocol. Okay. Now, once ICICI receives the email, it will have its own set of security policies that it would like to validate. So again, the security guy comes in, it checks whether the email content is okay or not. If it says, yeah, everything seems to be fine, it's then going to check, hey, is rishabh@icici.com even a valid email address? Once it finds Rishabh's email address, then it delivers it. And based on the entire flow, the email is received by the inbox of Rishabh. Okay. So, yes.
Just getting back. So let's, yeah, can you just mute yourself?
Sure.
Yeah. So let's say that the mail is from Gmail to Gmail. Is the same process followed, or that is a shorter process? Because the mailing server is, the Gmail is the same server from both the sender as well as the recipient.
Yeah, this similar process is followed, just that the time taken will be a little lesser, because so effectively the same process is followed. DNS setting is checked, the SPF setting is checked, but what will happen is it will not have to go through all these additional routers in between. It will basically just get redirected to another server locally.
Okay. And let's say that if I am using, constant contact or Canvas, whatever, to send an email, while the recipient is like on Gmail, on Yahoo. So still the same thing will happen. So the mail server will be, whatever, the HubSpot server or whatever.
Yes.
And the recipient server will be that Gmail server.
Correct. It'll be the same thing. The mail server on the left-hand side would be the constant contact or the Firecart or the Canvas server.
Yeah.
And on the right would be the receiving server, which would be Gmail, Hotmail, ICICI, whatever,
Sure. For a corporate account, like ICICI Bank or Citibank, are there any special layers like security or whatever, or are the infrastructure the same as for a consumer email from a recipient perspective?
So infrastructure is the same. What happens is, though, the security policy, the sixth step that you see, that is a lot more evolved in those cases. So they have a lot more filters at their place. Once an email is received, to kind of filter down to check the content, to check another phishing attack, have all the authentication protocols being followed. So when an email is sent via SMTP, there are a bunch of authentication also that needs to be followed. And some of them are called, so it's SPF, DKIM, DMARC. There are these different authentication protocols that these servers would look out for. And based on, so all that would be part of the security policy. Their security policy is generally more evolved. But, give or take the infrastructure standpoint, it's the same.
It's the same. So the step number 6 will be different, depending on whether it's a corporate or a simple user on a Gmail.
Correct. They would be having some more firewalls in place and stuff like that. But effectively, that would be the security policy would take care of it.
Sure. Tell me one more thing, like we hear about, and I'm sure you may cover it later on, that things like your IP address domain authority, impact the deliverability.
Yes.
Where does that come into the picture? I mean,
So generally, when an email is sent out from the mail server, at the receiving end, right? So this is a relatively simplified version of what will happen towards the end. But when the email is sent out, the receiving server would there are two levels. One, when the email is going to be sent out over the cloud, over that SMTP connection, over the different routers. There are security measures taken by the Cisco routers and the Juniper routers and so on, which themselves will decide, hey, you know what, there is a request coming from this particular server which is known to be a spammer or is known to be on a certain blacklist. Let's not forward the email at all. So that would be a first level of check. And the second would be at the level 6. Sometimes the security policy would also check against these known reputation score indexes, and they would check, hey, Gmail is going to have its own, first of all, its own scoring mechanism, that Ankur at canvas.in is known to be a good sender, so let's continue forwarding his email. Hey, you know what, it seems like Ankur at canvas.in is sending the email, but the IP address from which this email is coming is generally not his, so let's do some additional checks and so on. So it's step 5 and 6 where the additional checking happens, mainly at 6.
got it, got it. Okay. One question from Sumant is that how much time does it typically take for this thing to be completed from the sender to the recipient?
It's a matter of milliseconds. If you often see emails being sent out,
Right.
it's often milliseconds. Sometimes it gets stuck on level 6. So often you will see corporate servers, they have their own security mechanisms in place, and the time it takes for them to kind of validate the email may end up delaying how soon or late the email gets delivered to the final user. uh, but the entire 1 to 6, the process is a matter of milliseconds.
Got it, got it. Great, great, Ankur. Let's move.
Okay. Uh, so I thought, I don't know what kind of audience we have here, but for people who are interested in getting started with email marketing, just a quick summary of what one needs to do. The first thing is, you all need to digitize your email addresses, your contacts. So a lot of businesses have a lot of email addresses on paper. They need to be digitized. You want to remove the invalid email addresses from this list, or people you have not communicated with for a long period of time, because bad email addresses affects your email deliverability. Then you would ideally want to segment your customers, based on the products that they purchase from you, based on the services they kind of opted from your side, based on the location, age, gender, whatnot. You can segment the customer so you can target emails better. Then you want to create an email engagement planner. You want to kind of plan for the next 3 months what are the different emails that you want to send out from a marketing standpoint, and who in your contact list should receive them. And I have a slide to kind of give you an idea of what this means. Then actually preparing the content and designing the emails. You would want to kind of have a very nice looking HTML email so that the users are attracted by it and take action on the email. Next step is to use a good tool so that all the basic authentication protocols and sending out emailers in a jiffy and whatnot are taken care of. And finally, most important is, once you sent out these emailers, you would want to ideally track how you're doing, because that's the only way you can keep improving and getting better ROI.
Right, right. So, Ankur, one frequent question we have when we are starting up is that this create list of contact, is it okay to buy those email IDs which is available in the market, or shall we be, driving traffic to our forms, landing pages, and then collect it? Like.
Correct. So,
Yeah.
great question, Amitabh. What happens is, people often are like, I don't have a ready set of contacts or email addresses, and whoever knows me already are buying from me. So I actually want new people, and that's the common thing that you will hear from a lot of marketers. Uh, it is a really bad practice to purchase email addresses and send out emailers using email, like as an email marketing channel, because what you're not realizing is, in say for example, I've bought 5,000 email addresses and I send out an email to all those 5,000. The first time you do so, you might see a little bit of a spike in the performance, and you might see some sales happen, which will actually be that, hey, you know what, this is working. But what we don't realize is, of those 5,000 emails, email addresses, a lot of people have never asked you to send them email. So they might, end up unsubscribing from your emails. They might, mark your emails as spam. This has a direct impact on your reputation as a sender across the world. So next time when you're sending an email, even to a genuine person, it may end up landing the email in spam instead of the inbox, which could mean that you're no longer able to reach out to people who are genuinely wanting to hear from you. And over a period of time, the negative impact of this tends to be so much that your regular emails stop going out, and in general your domain name is kind of blacklisted and affects your performance. From a ROI standpoint, that short-term gain is absolutely not worth it.
Got it. Got it. And is it okay that I purchase a new domain just for email marketing and then buy data and do this, or that is not recommended?
So it will work once, but it will not work again. And in general, the amount of money you are going to spend on, so in general, there are different places from where you're going to buy lists. So when you're buying a list, often you will see that a lot of them are having invalid email addresses or old email addresses. So most of the emails will bounce. So if you're sending to 5,000, after the first 100, the other emails will not even go out, because any good email marketing software will block you right then. If it does allow you to go there, then there are issues of spam traps, which is what all these reputation authorities often just create dummy email addresses and insert them into all these lists. So when you're purchasing a list, you may come across an email address which does not exist at all and has been included it as a dummy email address. So when an email goes out to such an address, immediately all the reputation authorities are informed that, hey, you know what, looks like this guy is sending out emails to a dummy email address created by us. There is no way that anyone would know of this address other than the fact that it has been bought. And the moment a spam authority finds out about it, you're kind of blacklisted, and all your emails then start going to spam and so on.
Got it. Got it. Great. Yeah, so you were saying that we should actually run our campaigns and collect from the users before we start sending out mailers to them.
To new contacts, Amitabh, one better way to do it is to actually tie up with another organization that has its set of email addresses and do some kind of a co-sponsor kind of a email activity, because the email then goes out from a valid, genuine sender to his or her recipients. It's just that he is co-marketing your product or a service. That's a better way to go about it rather than just purchasing lists and sending emails.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Okay, so as I was mentioning, email engagement planner, I'll just show you a quick example what you would like to do in an email engagement planner. You want to plan, say, for the next 3 months, what are the different marketing activities I want to send out, and what should be the content of those emails, and then which particular student group or which particular customer group should receive it. So this is an example of an educational institute which wants to launch a SSE app, run a referral program, and announce some MBA classes related information for its bunch of students. So they've actually very smartly broken their customer list into different categories: SSE all students, SSE the students who have downloaded, prospects, leads, customers. And this is a representation of any business. All businesses have prospects, leads, customers, and different categories based on products and services they purchase. So in this case, they actually set up that, hey, let's send an email campaign about launching the app. After that, let's send a drip campaign, and I'll mention this a little while later on what are the benefits of the app and why someone should use it and so on. Then they are running a reminder campaign, which is to people who have not downloaded the app. Let's send an email to only those guys, and so on. So effectively, it's just a simple table that you want to create along with the content you want to send out. By having something like this in place, you are more likely to be more regular and frequent in sending your emails and ensure that you get a good return. Everything ends up about doing your email activities well so that you get a better return.
Right. And it's the same as email marketing.
Sorry?
Lead nurturing. Is it the same as lead nurturing?
Lead nurturing is effectively someone has become a lead, you want to nurture till they become a customer. This is more about when someone's starting out an email program, a plan, this is more like from a marketer standpoint. When he's planning his 3-month quarterly marketing activities, he should also plan, what are the emails and what are the marketing campaigns he wants to run in that sense. Some of it could be lead nurturing, some of it could be upselling, some of it could be converting visitors into new leads and so on.
Right.
Okay. Uh, so another thing that I wanted to highlight was, how do you write engaging email content? And these are some quick tips. I'll show you actually some examples of good emails. But just to go through these, you should ideally personalize your emails. Make the customer or the recipient of the email feel like he was written to separately. So, hi Ankur, or hi Amitabh, or it would be loud. I would love to connect with your company canvas, or whatever. You want to personalize the email. You want to ensure that the brand is consistent both on the website as well as in the email. So having similar colors, similar look and feel, try to ensure that. You don't want an email to be cluttered with too many different things happening. So always try to create an emailer with one clear goal on what you want the user to do. Do you want him to purchase something on the website? Do you want him to sign up for some event? It should always be a clear goal. You want to provide an easy way for the customer to unsubscribe. Often email marketers tend to believe that, hey, you know what, I don't want to give an unsubscribe option, because what if he unsubscribes? He will never receive my email. Please realize that, when you give an unsubscribe option, you are actually giving an easy way for the customer to say, hey, I'm not interested in your emails anymore. If you don't offer that, what ends up happening is customers tend to mark your email as spam, which tends to be 100 to 1,000 times having a negative impact on your email sender reputation compared to an unsubscribe. So you really want to offer this as a promotional, in terms of promotional emails.
Sure. So Ankur, one more question. Like we also hear that there are the spam filters monitors some of the words, and if you're using those words as a part of your email or the headline, your mail is more likely to be classified as a spam.
Yes.
Is that true? And how does one guard against this?
Yes. So it is true. It is not in isolation. Just that because you have used a particular word that the email will land in spam. But if it is used in a particular context, there is a higher chance that emails could land in spam. So say, for example, words like free, you use words like free. There are some words in the medical space like Cialis or Viagra. These words are typically associated with words that are used by spammers, and hence ISPs, when they notice, internet service providers like Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, when they notice words like these as part of the content of an email, they tend to flag it. So they then would, so email, whether it lands in spam or not, is based on the score that an email receives. So it's not, so say for example, if it has a spam word, it may get a point deducted for the content of the email. But if all the other pieces are in order or in place, like the right authentication, the right IP address, the domain reputation is good, this email sender has had good engagement over the past few emails, then that one negative point is kind of taken care of by the other aspects. But yes, it is true that certain words are considered to be spammy, and ISPs flag that.
Right. Is there any tool that helps us check our email content and if they can flag us? Is there anything?
Good email marketing tools tend to include, uh, small tools which will give an indication. Hey, you know what? This email has got certain spammy words. So I know, for example, in our product Firecard, we offer a tool like that, where you create your email, you are about to send it. Before that, you do a review, and it will tell you, okay, hey, you know what? Out of these 150 words, there are these 5 words that are generally considered as spam words.
Okay.
Any good email marketing tool would offer it as part of their solution.
Nice. Okay, great.
Yeah, and finally, you want to ensure the emails are mobile friendly. Almost 60 to 70% of the emails are read on mobile today, so that is the important thing to keep in mind. Okay, so let's go through some quick examples of, in my opinion, what are well-designed emails. So in this case, ModCloth, it's a company that's trying to make some changes to the email program. So if you see, there are a few aspects that immediately stand out. How they have kind of maintained the brand in terms of the look and feel of the email. It's consistent with their website. What they've done really well is they are making some changes to the email program. Look at how well they have highlighted it, bolded. The section is standing out so well that you are not really worried about what else is there in the email. And third thing, if you see in this email, there's a shop our outfits that is repeated multiple times. So from a call to action perspective, it's very clear. While we are making changes to our email program, if you're interested in doing anything, we want you to shop our outfits. Another email I would say is an email sent by Litmus. Litmus is a tool which helps check how your emails will look on multiple devices. So look at how well they kind of stood out. They have used a GIF image which immediately stands out from any other email that you will see in your inbox. So that small little animation helps it stand out. Uh, Look at how well they've demarked the different sections. By using contrasting background colors, they've been able to highlight a lot of content and still make it stand out. So, and if you look at the buttons, learn more, get scope for free, they kind of stand out. So it's again a good example of a.
Great. So Ankur, one more question here, like regarding the formats that an email supports,
Mhm.
right? So I think like you are showing, I mean, GIF is supported, like it's a small animation, but
Correct.
obviously we cannot send videos, right? Or is there a way to send videos that
Uh,
can play inside the browser, like or inside your mailer inbox?
Yeah. So, see, email recipients are of various types, Amitabh. You have Gmails, which is a web-based interface. You have Outlook, which is a desktop client-based interface, and you've got Yahoo and Hotmail, and all these different interfaces, right? So, anything. So, for example, some things that work on Gmail may not necessarily work on Outlook. For example, a GIF image that may work seamlessly on a Gmail may not necessarily work on Outlook. In that case, you want to kind of protect yourself by having a button or a link to open that same thing on a web page. Uh, Videos typically are hard to embed in an email. A lot of the lot of the emails clients do not support it. So, the answer to that is not a yes or a no. It's simply a function of what tool you are using to view that email.
Got it. But is it possible to embed videos and then send it like?
In some cases, yes.
Okay.
If you're using a Gmail recipient and if you're using Google Videos, then they do allow supporting it. YouTube,
Okay.
for example, can be sent out as thumbnails. It won't run within the email, but it automatically gets added as an attachment.
Okay. Great.
Okay. Another example of a good email is so Nike in this case is wanting to promote its particular product. So look at the amount of real estate it's been given to this email. It's clear and highlighting the product. That's what the goal and focus is. This is another nice email. Let's speak about a couple of bad emails as well, right? In this case, BuzzFeed sent out an email to a particular organization with a subject line saying, "Hi, you're fired." Now, imagine you being an employee of a company and you getting an email with a subject line saying, "Hi, you're fired." There is an extremely high chance that you are at least bound to open that email and see what the hell this is all about, right? In this case, BuzzFeed probably got their highest ever open rate in an email. But the moment someone opens it, look at what is happening. It's some generic text, that some people may get fired today if they do XYZ activities. This is what is called as a clickbait. You are getting someone to take an action by giving him something that he or she doesn't really want to read. And what ends up happening in such cases is, yes, there were a lot of opens that email got, but also a lot of people ended up marking it as spam. There were a lot of complaints around it. You don't want to cheat people by giving them,
Right.
misleading titles.
No, absolutely. So I think the headline. Okay. So Ankur, I'm just muting you. Yeah. You can unmute yourself.
No
Okay.
problem.
Yeah. So yes. So while the headline should raise curiosity in people and it should make them read your email, but it should not be frustrating experience for people. Because if once people have a negative experience with you, next time they are not going to open it. And I'm sure we have seen this a lot, especially with Facebook content. Like there are a lot of clickbaits out there, and then once or twice you get enticed, you click on it, but over a period of time you understand never to click a lot of things from that particular organization or publication. So like what Ankur is saying, like be careful of what you use as your headline. Yeah, Ankur, you can carry on. You are muted, okay? So you have to unmute from the top of the screen. Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay. Amitabh, it'll help if you can unmute me because I'm just running through the slides.
Yeah, sure. Okay, you go ahead.
Uh, all right. So examples of poorly designed emails, right? This is another one. So in this case, the graphic designer has done a decent job with the creatives. He's added a lot of different text, content, images to the email, but it's not really serving the purpose of the marketer. So, any guesses? One big issue here is, while it is reasonably attractive to look at the email, the CTA buttons, the shop summer, the shop the festival collection, shop bikini basics, are in the same color with the similar font. They just don't stand out. So the chances of person taking an action on this email is significantly lower than on other emails, and that kind of hurts the whole purpose of sending out this email. One last example of a poorly designed email. This is personalization gone bad. So in this case, if you see, greetings Karen, so he is addressing me by name. But the moment you see the next line, he says, it was great to meet you last week at XYZ event or the next event. This immediately gives an indication to the user that, hey, you know what, although he's trying to personalize the email to me, he's not sure whether I attended a particular event or the other one. This is a really bad sign. You don't want to personalize emails and send out a generalized thing, because it's giving a wrong message to the user. You would much rather have two separate emails go out, one for Zuora Day and one for Dreamforce. That would have done a far better job than what has been done here. Okay. Uh, so, Amita, one of the things that often happens with a lot of email marketers, especially those who are just beginning to start off, is they expect everyone in their customer database who is loyal and who is purchasing from them on a regular basis to open their emails. That to a sub, that is not really the case. It's very common for people to see 10 to 20% open rates on their emails, even when they are sent out to valid contacts who have been engaged with them over a long time. So this particular slide is more from an expectation standpoint. I want to set the right expectations when you are using email as a channel. You will generally see that 10 to 20% of your people are going to open the email. 1 to 2% of those guys will click on the email, and then there are bounces. You don't want to have anything more than 15%. Unsubscribes, you definitely not want to have more than 5%. If you are having any numbers like these, generally it means that you are sending the emails to the wrong audience, or you're sending a wrong content to the wrong audience. And finally, spam complaints. Anything more than 1 in 1,000 is supposed to be a bad ratio from spam complaint standpoint. So you want to keep these numbers in mind when you're sending out emailers to see if you're doing well or not. Yes, you do see a higher open rate in some cases, but most of the times you will see it's very common for companies to have 10 to 20% open rates.
Okay, nice.
Some good email marketing tools, I listed out 3 or 4 of them here: MailChimp, Firecard.io, Aweber, SendGrid. There are a lot of good email marketing tools out there. It's about what do you really want to do, and what are the factors that you should look at to decide whether a tool is good or not. So some quick pointers. You want to see if the tool is giving you easy drag and drop HTML designer. Hey, you guys are marketers. At the end of the day, y'all don't really care about creating HTML and asking your developer to spend time on it. So if the tool is out of the box able to give you a very easy to use designer to build a HTML email, that's a big plus. You want to check, if the tool is giving you important stats such as open rate, click rate, bounces, unsubscribes, spam, who has opened the email, which link in the email has been clicked, and so on. Good tools often maintain suppressed lists. So if a person has marked your email as unsubscribed, or has marked your email as spam in the past, or if the email address was invalid, the tool should automatically not send an email from your account to that particular address in future. Sending emails repeatedly to such addresses tends to affect your reputation negatively. Then reputation of the servers that the tool uses is very important, because that determines whether your email lands in inbox or spam. So you want to check if the tool that you're using is using a shared server, is using a dedicated IP for you or not.
Mhm. Does it matter, Ankur, if the server for the tool resides in the same region that you're sending the mailers to? So for
Not
India, sorry.
not much. Uh, from a latency standpoint, it helps, so the email gets delivered faster, but not really from a reputation standpoint.
Okay, got it. So it's not essential that the service provider that you're using should have all their servers based in India, for example.
No, that's not needed. Correct.
Okay, got it.
Certain countries have some regulations that content sent out by email should not go out of their country, but in that case you'll have to take a look at it. But India does not have any such legal restrictions.
Okay, got it.
uh, does it So yeah, good tools would also offer some kind of automation capability to send out autoresponders or to do rule based automation. If someone is of a particular age group in a city like Bombay and has attended a particular event, then let's send out this email. Creating rules like these to send out intelligent emailers, good tools would offer that. And easy segmentation of contact lists, similar to what I just said. If someone has attended a particular event and has been a customer of mine for the last 5 years and has spent more than 10,000 rupees, let's create a separate list of these guys so I can target them differently. Good tools will allow all these activities easily. And then finally, A/B testing. Does the tool allow you to do A/B testing? I want to send out an email to 5,000 people, but I don't really know which subject line will work well. So let's send out one subject line emailer to 100 people. Let's send out another subject line email to another 100. And then based on the performance of the two, send out to the remaining 4,800. So good tools allow, a lot of these features out of the box.
Sure.
Some of these things I already mentioned. Problems getting started. Customer lists are not ready. It's hard to create content. Designing emails is hard. Some people have tried this in the past and got very poor results, so they just don't see the point of spending the time and energy in creating emails. Uh, so what are the issues that a lot of the email marketers face? They are not able to send to all their customers at the same time. A lot of people have thousands of people, lakhs of customers whom they want to send out emailers, and they're just not able to send it out to all of them at the same time, because all these different ISPs or senders will have certain limitations. You can't send more than 100 in an hour. You can't send more than 500 emails in an hour. So typically a good tool would take care of something like this. Emails landing in spam, and I have a whole slide to this, so I'll just keep it for later. Email marketing provider has blocked the account. So I tried to send out 500 emails. Out of that, 100 emails, were sent to email addresses that don't exist at all. Your email marketing provider will immediately block your account. This is something I just spoke about a little while back. When I as Ankur at Canvas.in start sending out emails to lakhs of people and who have not signed up, who are marking my emails as spam, what happens is when I'm actually sending an email to Amitabh, who I've been interacting with on a regular basis, even that email may not get delivered to Amitabh. So even your regular emails don't get delivered, and that's a big issue from an email marketer standpoint. You could get blacklisted by spam authorities, and this is something we've spoken about earlier as well. So we'll move on.
Yeah, let's move on, Ankur. I think we should wrap up in another 5 minutes.
Yeah. So, some of the mistakes that people do, they buy contact lists, which contain spam traps. There is a mass mailing practice that people do. They don't like to break their customer list into smaller lists. You should take care of mobile friendly emails. A lot of marketers continue sending emails to bounce addresses, so you should avoid that. One important thing is you want to have a good mix of text and image in your email. Want to have one large image. And some of the other points, you can probably take a look at the slide once Amitabh shares it later. So this is an important slide. I want to cover this. Why do emails land in spam, and what are the things that ISP looks at before deciding whether email should go in spam? So one is the IP reputation of the sender server. You want to make sure that the IP reputation is above 85 or 90 on a tool called Sender Score. The second thing that is looked at is the domain reputation. So does the sender canvas.in have a good reputation? Then the third is canvas.in present on any blacklist? If it is, then chances of the email sent from canvas.in will go to spam.
So,
Uh,
Ankur, can we figure out the domain reputation of a sender? Is there any
yeah,
tool that helps us?
there are some open tools. There is a tool called MX Tools, which also I mentioned in one of the slides. That also allows
Okay.
you to take a quick look whether your domain is rated well or
Sure.
not.
Sure. So we should be careful about the IP and the domain
IP and
reputation.
absolutely correct.
Okay, nice. And
Uh,
IP, like you said, the score should be above 85 or 90,
yeah, the higher the better.
right?
On the particular
The higher.
tool that I'm mentioning, sender score is the tool
Sure,
that.
sure. Sender score. And for domain, is there any similar scale
There is
for
no such
domain
scale.
reputation?
It just mentions whether it's good or bad.
Okay, great. So binary, like.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at least that tool. There must be some more tools that are maintained by the
Sure.
spam authorities, just that they're not publicly accessible.
Okay, available. Okay,
Uh,
great.
you want to be consistent in sending out emailers. You don't want to suddenly send out an email to 1 lakh people and then for the next whole year you don't want to communicate with them and again send out an email to 10,000 people. That's generally considered to be bad practice. Lands emails in spams. You want to focus on your content. So this is containing one of the things that you mentioned, Amitabh. There are certain words that are associated with spam. You want to avoid those.
Right.
Some more things, right? You want to make sure that the email is authenticated properly. So I was mentioning about SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. Uh, User email engagement is also important. So if a user has regularly opened your email, clicked those emails, chances of him receiving the email in inbox is high. If someone is not interacting with your email at all, you probably want to stop sending those guys emails in future.
Mhm.
These are some of the tools that I was mentioning, Amitabh. Return
Right.
path, sender score, the MX tools blacklist checker, and then spam assassin is a way to check if your content is good.
Right. Right. So these are very helpful. Thank you.
And this is probably the last slide. In terms of new advanced email marketing practices that are happening today, email automation. So, there are a lot of good tools out there which offer email marketing, but email automation is relatively new. So, what is email automation, right? You want to be able to send smart emails based on that particular person's behavior or his demography. So doing demographic and behavioral targeting. Drip marketing is effectively if someone has come to your website and has signed up as a user, he may not necessarily be able to ready to buy. So you want to kind of nurture him. So first you want to say a welcome email. 3 days later you want to send him these are the different services and products we offer. Maybe 3 days later, depending on whether that guy has opened the past email or has clicked on a particular service, you send him a testimonial or a case study of how someone else who is similar to you has benefited from our services. And then maybe you want to send another email. Do you want us to reach out to you, and so on. So this is an example of a drip marketing campaign where you can program specific emails to go out on a fixed interval of time. Uh, then email automation also allows you to target different kinds of people based on date. So say for example you're a yoga studio or you're a company that has recurring subscription based programs. 3 days before the subscription is about to end, you want to send out a email reminder that hey, you know what, your subscription is about to end. Do you want to sign up for a bigger program? Do you want to renew? 5 days after your say a trip to Andaman got done, 5 days later you want to send an automatic email saying, can you give me some feedback on this trip? Do you want to refer someone to this program? A few days before the trip starts, you want to probably send out a list of instructions. So a whole bunch of date-based automation and stuff. So good email automation tools will allow you to do all these different intelligent activities from a marketing standpoint. Uh, and A/B testing is something I mentioned earlier as well.
Great.
So that's it from me in terms of what I wanted to cover in this. I'm up for any questions.
Yeah, I'll just check. So just give me a second. I'll
Yes.
let you know if there is any question. So Sumant has a question that, he's sending mails to his organization. It's like within an organization.
Mm-hmm.
While he's able to send mails to other people, some of the mails from other people he's not able to receive. So is there any reason why this could happen?
Are we talking? So there are two things, right? I'm not sure if I understood the question completely. Say I'll use an example. So Ankur at canvas.in is receiving an email from XYZ at canvas.in,
Correct.
but he's not receiving an email from Amitabh at gmail.com.
No, 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 no. From the same organization.
So Amitabh
So
at
like,
xyz.com.
yeah. So let's say that there are five of you in the same company.
Mm-hmm.
You are receiving mails from everybody, but
Hmm.
your mails are not going in some people's inboxes.
Got it. So there are a few different reasons why this could happen. One is in the past, if you have marked that particular sender as a spam sender, then that could be one of the reasons. Second is the email that the person is trying to send has some words or some content that is not liked by your security policy of your local of your corporate security policy, and that could be the reason it's landing in spam. uh, Sometimes if you're sending out attachments or zip files or some content which is greater than a certain size, then also sometimes the servers have a restriction. So it could be specific to certain content of the emails that is being sent out, or if this particular sender has in the past marked him as a spam sender or something, that could be one of the reasons. The generally the best way to take care of such issues is to highlight it to the local corporate IT team, and they will generally be able to take a look at why exactly the emails are not going out.
Sure, sure. I think he's mentioning that even the local IT team is not able to figure out. So maybe it's got something to do with that particular mail out. It's maybe the like you mentioned, maybe the content, maybe the attachment, or maybe the relationship with that particular uh, employee. Like sometimes you would have marked his mail spam, or vice versa. Maybe that is what is
So
impacting.
another example, and I because I don't know the details, is if
Sure.
you're using Google Apps,
Yeah.
sometimes the emails don't land up in the inbox. Very rarely, but they do. In that case, Google Apps actually has a console. If you do some searching around, you will find that those emails get stuck in a queue and they don't get delivered.
Yes, yes. Okay. So Chandrajit had a question on email automation. So what are some of the tools? So are they different from the platforms like a Firecard or Constant Contact or MailChimp, or they are embedded in these things?
Uh, so the good tools will have it embedded. Firecard, for example, I can speak about my tool. It has email marketing as a service, but a bunch of automation capabilities are offered as part of the tool itself. It's not a separate tool. And I can also mention, Mailchimp that also offers some automation capability out of the tool itself.
Right, right. So before we close, Ankur, one final question on Amazon. A lot of us use AWS,
Yes.
right? And I understand it works a little differently because they, I think, give only the server part. You need to have a wrapper and stuff like that. So can you just tell us like a little bit about what is AWS? How is it different from your product?
Yeah, sure. So AWS, of course, is a whole broad range of services. I believe what you are referring to specifically is the email
SMS.
service. Yeah,
Correct.
email and service.
Yeah.
So AWS SES, it's a
SE.
simple email service.
Correct.
Yeah, SES. That is the simple email service that they offer. Uh,
Yeah.
what it does is it has a bunch of different servers from which it's able to send out emails to recipient. And AWS on its part, tries to make sure that the reputation of all these servers remains high.
Okay.
What we don't provide out of the box is HTML designers, for example, a easy drag and drop tool. They don't provide ability to for you to keep track of how many people have opened your email, clicked on a particular link in the email, and so on. They do give some basic stats on bounces and I believe spam complaints. uh,
Got it.
so
Got
from
it.
if you're wanting to send out emails, AWS SES is dirt cheap. It turns out to be very inexpensive, but it
Yeah.
doesn't offer any of these value-added services. You need your developer to help you with those.
Exactly. So if you're a developer and you want to do it in a very cost-effective way, then maybe otherwise you can always offer look out for Canvas and tools like that because they offer the entire package.
Yeah,
So
right.
finally, Ankur, like if somebody has to try out your Canvas.in or Firecart, do you have any free trial or something that people
We
can
do.
go there and see?
We do. So if you go to firecard.io, there is an option to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Feel free to sign up and use the software to your liking. There are some help videos and articles as well, which can help you answer questions. And if you run into issues, of course, happy to help.
Great. So thank you, Ankur. Thanks a lot. I hope it was useful to our audience, to our listeners. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to Ankur or write to me at amitav@adsforgrowth.com. So thank you, Ankur. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Amitabh. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.